What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Sit Down Sports Edition.
There you go.
You know what time it is. It is Tuesday, and me and Andrew, you know who's here. Andrew is here, like
What's up,
always. And as you know, we're gonna run through week 9 of the NFL, what we liked, what we didn't like.
Yeah.
It was a wild week this week.
Yeah, it was
a wild week.
A little bit of craziness. A few upsets and a few blowouts that definitely not expected, and a few tight games that we weren't expecting either. So
Yeah.
we'll go through all of that today. Starting with Thursday night football, Packers-Niners. This went about as according to what we thought.
Slicing and dicing.
Niners are a banged up team. The Packers are a contender. And when the Packers are rolling, they are rolling.
Devontae Adams, he's a man amongst boys.
He's probably the best receiver in the league right now.
I would agree. Just based off, if we're going strictly off production and the impact of the impact he has for his team individually,
Absolutely.
I don't think you can put anybody above him right now.
No, and he's so reliable. He's a guy. He really is like Aaron Rodgers is Michael Thomas this year, where he's just hitting him on everything, and he catches it, and defenses have no idea what to do.
10 receptions on 12 targets for 173 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, I mean,
And that touchdown was ridiculous.
right. And the other times he does super well, it's maybe 110 yards and then like 2 or 3 touchdowns. So he's really is the pinnacle of consistency when it comes to wide receiver play this year. DeAndre Hopkins also up there.
Which is really something that Aaron Rodgers has never had.
No, he has not had.
Not since like the Jordy Nelson days.
He had Jordy Nelson, he had Randall Cobb, but none of them were as dominant
More
as Devontae
consistent.
Adams has
Well,
been.
and I'll even say this, in terms of consistency of production, Devontae Adams is better than both of them.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
in terms of injuries, they're all kind of on the same playing field. That's
Sure.
the problem when it comes to Aaron Rodgers' receiving core. He's had a lot of talent, but they get injured.
Yeah.
They get injured often.
And that's where
Often.
the Packers' lack of depth comes in.
Yeah.
Where if Devontae Adams is on the field, okay, well, we stop Aaron Jones when he is on the field.
Right.
He hasn't been for a minute. And make Aaron Rodgers throw the ball to some no-name guys. Alan Lazard is also out. He's their number 2 receiver. He should be back next week.
I think he was playing this week.
No, he was on IR. I have him in fantasy.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He should be back next week though.
Oh, I was thinking of MBS.
Yes. The Niners and Packers last year, the Niners smoked the Packers both times they played, once in the regular season, once in the playoffs. This year, Packers got the best of the Niners.
Yep.
I don't think they'll be seeing each other in the playoffs this year.
I don't either. 49ers, they're just too injury prone. I'll say this though. I was actually impressed with the Niners. They fought as much as they could fight.
Sure.
For what they had available to
Absolutely.
them and what the groceries in the basket were in theory. They just have nothing there, dude. They got no groceries.
They're really just
playing.
playing. They're playing with their JV team right
It's
now.
house money.
Yeah, exactly.
It's house money.
Let's move on to the Broncos-Falcons. Falcons won this one 34-27. Before game time, the Broncos had made inactive. I guess there were some injuries through the week. Their number 1 corner
Yeah.
and their number 2 corner.
AJ Bouye was
Bouye
yeah.
and Bryce Callahan.
Yeah.
That immediately set the Broncos up in a very, very poor spot with obviously the Falcons offense having Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and Calvin Ridley. That's a tough thing to match up with when you're starting your 3, 4, and 5 corners.
Right.
All things considered, though, the Falcons were still the Falcons and almost blew their lead in the fourth quarter.
I was hoping.
Broncos came back, but ultimately they fell up short by a score. Broncos have a real first through third quarter problem.
Very. Very. You know what? I think the big thing, because I'm looking at the stats right now, Denver beat Atlanta in every single category, from total yards to passing to rushing, yards per play.
Sure.
Third down conversion, they were worse than them by 3%. That's not going to make or break you. But the one thing that sticks out to me, TOP, time of possession. Time of possession. Atlanta had it 33 minutes and 27 seconds, and Denver had it 26 minutes.
Right, and
Now
so
that makes a difference.
yes, where time of possession and that time of possession stat comes from, the Broncos did almost nothing the first 3 quarters,
Yep.
and then that last quarter is when they put up all those yards, all those points,
Exactly
and all of
right.
that kind of stuff. So that's where all of that came in, all in one quarter.
Yep.
So the Falcons dominated for 3 quarters straight, and then naturally in the fourth quarter they went out. And then the Broncos are the opposite, where they came back in that fourth quarter Just wasn't enough though. Neither one really looks like a playoff team.
Was Philip Lindsay hurt? Because he didn't do anything.
I don't think so.
He had absolutely no presence. None.
Did he run the ball at all?
8 rushes
Okay.
for 23 yards.
Yeah,
He had no presence.
and the Falcons' defense isn't exactly good.
Drew Lock had 7 rushes for 47 yards.
Right.
That's a quarterback, you know.
And we talk about this a lot, where if a team, and we're going to talk about it later, when a team doesn't run the ball, or doesn't even attempt to run the ball at least 15, maybe 20 times a game, you're in bad shape, most likely.
Yep.
Unless you're specifically going after a weakness, which we will also talk about later.
Oh, yeah.
Neither one really looks like a playoff team right now. If the Broncos had won this game, they're in a hunt. But right now, when they're losing to teams like the Falcons and they're so inconsistent,
Yeah.
it's really not even worth talking about.
Nope. I'll say this. I will for the future. Y'all got to go to Jerry Jeudy. That kid can play.
Yeah, he had a few good routes.
That kid can play.
Broke a few guys. Who plays really nice
Yeah.
football. Having Cortland Sutton back next year,
That's going to help.
and having Jerry Jeudy
tremendously.
as well as Cortland Sutton, and then KJ Hamler is going to come into his own. They started utilizing him as a speed guy a lot. They had him on a reverse.
Mm-hmm.
That offense could be nasty if Drew Lock can pick up the quarterback play,
Right.
and Noah Fant can stay healthy.
And that's the thing too, right? I think for Jerry Jeudy, he got put in a tough spot because I think he came into the league right away as a 1. Because Cortland Sutton got hurt. He probably would have been your 1. Jeudy would have been your 2. But this year, Jerry Jeudy's your 1. So he's having to learn how to be a 1 as a rookie. Now,
Right.
that's tough.
Yeah,
That's tough.
being the most talented pass catcher on your football team as a rookie.
Usually doesn't bode very well.
Yeah.
Unless you're an absolute freak.
Right.
I mean, he could be.
He could
but
be. It's very difficult for a rookie wide receiver to. Usually, when a rookie wide receiver comes in, they're not one,
of course.
so they're able to succeed. Let's hop over to Giants football team. The Giants
Good
keep
game.
getting better.
Yes, they do.
That defense was nasty almost all game long. They got turnovers, they got sacks, they made that football team offense really. The score doesn't tell the whole story because
No.
that offense crumbled most of the game.
What's with these ankle injuries? Can we stop it?
Yeah,
Could we cut it out with these ankle injuries?
Kyle
bro?
Allen dislocated his ankle towards the middle of that.
And you
game.
is there any update in terms of like any tears, any ligament or tendon tears?
Partial bone break and a dislocation. That's all I heard.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah.
Oh, gross, bro.
Yeah, it
Gross.
it didn't seem as bad as Dax, but it was still. I mean, you saw that thing twist.
The
and it was hanging there.
mechanism of injury was darn near identical.
Almost,
which
yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, but yeah, I think we can keep this one pretty simple.
Yeah.
The Giants won this game.
Yep.
The Washington football team, they didn't give it away. The Giants took this.
Correct.
Their defense took it, and
There's-
Daniel Jones.
There's giveaways and there's takeaways.
Yes.
Giants
Daniel
had-
Jones did enough, right? They did enough.
Yeah.
And I'm especially impressed because the Giants relied on their run offense to really set them up for success. If you look at the rushing yards, Washington had 37 rush yards for the game compared to the Giants' 166.
Yep.
That I know that's going to equate to time of possession, where you see the New York Giants 36 minutes and 27 seconds to the Washington football team's 23 minutes and 33 seconds. That's a 13-minute difference. That could equate to almost 3 full possessions.
It's a full quarter of football.
That's big.
Yeah.
That's huge. That right there in itself will win you a football game.
Right.
And you look over at the interceptions. 3 for the football team, 0 for the Giants.
Yep.
You look at fumbles, 2 for Washington, 0 for the Giants.
Yep.
That right there, that's a winning
They
recipe.
played good, clean football, and this team reminds me a lot of. I was listening to Colin Cowherd today, and I couldn't agree more. He was talking about how the Giants are the Dolphins of this year.
Agreed.
Dolphins last year had a really slow start, started coming into their own a little later in the season, got more used to their head coach, got more used to the offense. Giants have a new head coach this year, young quarterback coming in, doing his thing. They had an injury to a very good top 5 running back.
Yep.
Once they get him back next year and they become more accustomed to what's going on in the offense,
Curious to see.
I think they are going to succeed.
Very
a lot
curious
next
to
year. I
see,
think
yeah.
they could very well take the NFC East next year.
They could. They could.
Football team needs to figure out that offense. That's a problem. Ron Rivera, I know he had his own personal struggles this year.
Quarterback. That, I would say,
But they need to
quarterback.
figure out quarterback. Yeah.
Yes, that's where they're in trouble. Quarterback.
And O-line, really. Their offensive line is not protecting their quarterbacks either, so it's hard to be a quarterback when you don't have time.
I mean, when you run the ball for 37 yards in a game,
Yep.
that doesn't make it easy for an offensive line to go backwards all day.
Right. Bears, Titans. Titans pulled it out. They stopped their 2-game skid. The Bears are now 2-4 with Mitchell Trubisky. With Nick Foles.
The Bears are what I think we thought they were going to be at the start of the season.
Yes.
And they kind of fooled me. I think they fooled you as well. We were obviously a little more resistant and hesitant to jump on that ship, but this went about as I expected it to.
The Bears are so the last 2 weeks of October and the first 2 weeks of November, right? That's that time frame of like, all right, we really do know who you are as a football team. The Bears, the past 2 weeks, and then this week, and probably next week, are showing that they are not the team that they were in the first 6 weeks, right? Nick Foles is obviously showing that he's a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
He's a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
They need to run the ball better, and that defense, only gave up 24 points, so it's not in this year's NFL. That's not awful, but the Bears need to decide who they want to be, and if you're going to start a backup caliber quarterback in Nick Foles, and then you need to be able to and rely on your defense. You're going to be able to need to run the football better.
Yep. I'll say this. I think this game came down to 3 things for me. Number 1, the Chicago Bears have to protect the football.
Mhm.
My goodness, 3 fumbles?
It's a problem.
3 fumbles. You're not going to win that. Win that.
And that comes with running the football better. You need to hold on to it.
Of course. I think actually, not to go against what you said, because Nick Foles is completely a backup quarterback, but I don't think he lost this game for them.
No, I don't think he did either.
I don't think he lost this game. I think the Chicago defense lost this game. They need to get ahead on A.J. Brown and stop him. That dude went for a field day. 4 receptions for 101 yards on 9 targets for a touchdown.
And that's poor tackling.
Yes.
Because a lot of his catches were within that 10-15 yard range, and then he just took it upfield. Mm-hmm. So that pass rush is no longer effective when the ball's in the air. And that's their bread and butter.
Yep.
So you do need to make those tackles, but in terms of points given up, it's hard not to blame the offense when they're only putting up 17 points.
And I'll say this: the one thing, believe it or not, I really am not that high on Tennessee. Because if you take away,
they didn't play that well this game.
If you take away
a touchdown.
If you take away one of those fumbles, they're going into overtime, and then anybody wins.
Sure.
They got a fumble recovery for a touchdown in that game, if I'm correct, which I'm pretty sure I am.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, Chicago won the TOP battle. I want to harp more on that over time.
Sure.
Because people really underestimate how important that is. That tells you a lot about a football game. It's
Sure.
TOP, time of possession. They lost that time of possession battle 26 minutes to 34 minutes. That's significant. Yeah. Especially when you have a run dominant offense like the Titans. Something's going on there that I don't like. It's kind of what we talked about. The Titans seem to be a one-trick pony as well. If you can stop the run game and the defense can just do anything outside of stop the run game, you're gonna have a really good chance.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have a really good chance. But clearly, the Bears could not do that.
Yeah, the Bears.
Clearly.
Yeah, and they've had a problem putting up over 20 points in a game pretty much all year.
Yep.
I can see this next team that we're going to talk about that just got a win overtaking the Bears in their division at some point.
Let's get into it.
Lions, Vikings. Vikings came away with a win. The Vikings are playing like a playoff team.
Dalvin Cook.
He's a freak.
Holy jeez.
I have not lost a week in fantasy that he has started. I'm not kidding. When he's out, I lose. When he's in, I win.
Ridiculous.
He is the best running back in the league this year.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
Not even close.
And that puts Kirk Cousins in positions where he doesn't have to win football games on his own.
And that's a good recipe for the Vikings.
It is, because when you put, we say it all the time, when you put too much on Kirk Cousins, he folds. But when you have Dalvin Cook to hold up that offense, and you can let, and then you open up those lanes for your receivers to be able to run the ball to pass the ball.
Yep.
The best way to pass the ball is to run it.
And I would say this too: run the ball to save your defense.
Yes.
The less the Vikings defense is on the field, the better that team is.
And that's the way they've been doing it. That defense has gotten better over the weeks.
Yep.
And I would say it's attributed to how well they're running the football.
I would absolutely say that's
the defense is fresh. They're not as much pressure. Just hold them on third downs. We're not asking you to make crazy turnovers. We're not asking stop them from getting touchdowns and stop them on third down. And that's what they've been doing pretty consistently the past few weeks.
Yep.
The Vikings, I'll say it now, might go 9-7, 8-8, make the playoffs.
They could.
And they're 3-5.
They won't if they keep committing 9 penalties a game, though.
Sure, that's you can't do that.
They're on average committing, I think, 7 and 3/4. I don't know how you get the 3/4 penalties, but they're on average committing 7 and 3/4 penalties a game. That's not a good recipe.
No, it's not.
So you're gonna have to clean that up. But
obviously, limit the mistakes.
If you can run the football like that, you got it.
Pretty much every game you're in, if you can run the ball like that.
And then in terms of the Lions, Matt Stafford did not do what we needed him to do. If you picked him, if you're a Lions fan, 2 interceptions, not gonna work. Chase Daniel, why was he in the game?
I think Stafford got hurt.
Okay, I want to make sure I wasn't going crazy.
I do believe Stafford got hurt.
So especially now Stafford getting hurt, that's even worse.
Yep.
So, Lions, not looking too good right now for you guys.
No. They need to. These teams are both 3-5 on 2 completely different trajectories.
Yeah.
Lions need to pick up the slack on defense, on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, 20 points is not enough, but 34 points is also too many.
Exactly.
So defense has got to pick it up. Offense has got to pick it up. They really need to get themselves together as a football team.
Exactly right. As a whole, that team just needs to play better as a whole.
Absolutely. Our next game, we got Panthers-Chiefs. It came down to another record-breaking type field goal attempt by Joey Sly, and he just could not hit it. Which, I mean, you can't blame your kicker for missing a 67-yarder.
He's 67 yards.
He's probably hit it in warm-ups, so that's why they felt comfortable sending him out there. The Panthers played better than expected, but are also expected to lose this game.
I'll tell you what, here's my big takeaway, and I think we can keep it very simple with this. 2 things. Ballsy move going for that fake punt. On your own, 25.
And it was real nice.
Love that. That's going to win them a football. If they can continue that trend, that'll win them a football game this year.
Mm-hmm.
2, that offense runs through Christian McCaffrey. Even if he doesn't touch the ball, just his presence on the field, it made everything easier for every single person on that offensive unit.
Yeah.
And Kansas City, you expect them to be this way, but at the same time, it makes you uncomfortable. It makes you uncomfortable to see these games going like this, because a team this loaded and this talented, it should be a blowout every single game.
I texted you.
It shouldn't even be close.
I texted you, I think, about at one point in the game, and I was like, hey, Colin, Chiefs are losing. Guess how many rush attempts they had? You text me about 45 minutes, almost an hour later, saying how many? You said probably about less than 10. I said, well, when I texted you, it was 6.
Yeah.
Now it's 8. Total for the game, they only ran the ball 12 times.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a team this week that actually broke the NFL record for the least amount of rush attempts, and we'll get there.
Chiefs need to run the ball more.
Yes.
I don't care if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going 5 attempts for 14 yards.
It doesn't matter.
I don't care if Le'Veon Bell is going 4 attempts for 8 yards. And the other 3 attempts were from Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes.
It's about keeping the defense honest.
And you know these guys are good. You know that Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell are top tier running backs who can eventually break through a wall.
Right.
This was not a high scoring game. The Panthers were not throwing up points on the board and all of a sudden the Chiefs had to throw and wheel and deal and come back and win the game. That's not how that happened.
Nope.
They were close the entire time. Why are you not handing the football off?
Right.
This is why the game was so close.
Yep.
If this was a team like the Raiders, who are now, I believe, a top 10 football team, you would lose. And they have. They played this exact same game against the Raiders and lost.
Yep. And that's the thing I think that's shocking to me, and I'll leave it at this. Kansas City's brand of football is a very beatable brand of football. If you
If
have,
they don't play it right.
If you have, no, I'm talking about the opposition. If the opposition is willing to be patient
Oh,
and do what they're supposed to do, aka the Las Vegas Raiders running the ball down their throat for 30 minutes of the football game,
Mhm.
that's a recipe to beat a team, and that's not a hard recipe to replicate.
No,
It really
it's
is not. Which is scary for the Kansas City Chiefs because you're supposed to be this mean, scary team, and really not that scary. You put up a lot of points, that's great, but your defense allows a lot of points too.
Yeah, the defense is they need to up their rush attack. You know what I mean? That defense needs to be better at defending the rush. They're really good against. I would say they're better than average against pass. But when it comes
Barely, but yes.
when it comes to when teams run the ball and are patient and are consistent, that's the exact opposite of what the Chiefs are. They're not patient. They're consistent, but they're not patient.
Nope.
They need to hand the ball off more. You can't run the ball 12 times a game. I'm sorry. With 3 of them being from your quarterback and receiver. So really 9 times a game.
Yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs are consistent at being one-dimensional. That's what they're consistent at.
But when they run the ball and they get over 100 yards a game, it's a guaranteed win. They
Right.
blow out teams.
Exactly, and that's the thing, right? If it's a guaranteed win, just do that. Like,
It doesn't make any sense.
this whole motion Patrick Mahomes on the snap to run and catch the ball going across the field to then turn back around and come across for a touch. It's like,
The more
y'all doing too much.
you're
Like,
doing way too much.
like-
You are such a talented roster. Just play football.
I mean, it's kind of fun to see. I can't lie. I'm
Of
not going to
course
hate
it is.
on it,
But I think you need to diversify your offense to a 70-40. Or, I'm sorry, a 70-30. Pass the ball 70% of the time and run the ball 30.
right now it's probably a 90-10 split,
It
honestly.
feels like it. It really does feel like it. Where out of, and maybe not 70-30, probably more like 60-40.
Sure.
60% run, 60% pass, 40% run. Like you do have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, probably top 2, definitely top 2, and you have a young running back. Make that happen.
Right.
Like what? Come on. Like I it's just mind blowing to me that like you don't understand the formula to win for your own team, and I feel like you and I know it better than Andy Reid does, which is weird.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I think part of the problem is that they don't lose. So when you don't lose, it's hard to fix a problem. It's easier to ignore a problem when you don't lose a football game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think it's going to take them to lose, and I hope for their sake, they don't lose when it really matters.
Yeah, that's for sure. Let's move on to Texans Jaguars.
Oh,
This-
what a game!
It was a really good game that probably nobody watched. Two teams that are going nowhere, but boy was it fun. Deshaun Watson was doing Deshaun Watson things,
Tearing it up, like
and
lit it
the
up.
Jaguars had a 6th round rookie quarterback go on the field and almost torch a professional football team.
I'm telling you,
defense.
there's something about a no-name person coming on the field and just lighting it up. There's no scouting report. You don't know what the tendencies are. You don't know how a person plays the game of football, so you can't prepare.
His name is Jake Luton.
Luton.
He went 26 for 38, not a bad stat line,
Not at all.
for 304 yards, a touchdown and a pick. You can't really ask for more from a rookie 6th round pick.
Mm-mm.
And that touchdown was gorgeous. He was
Money.
dropping dimes all over the field.
Yeah, that was down
Pretty
the
much
chimney.
most of the game.
Yeah.
You just kind of need to expect more. And the running game did well. 27 rushes for 115 yards, 2 touchdowns. Which wasn't meant to be, I guess.
No, and again, it's I had a feeling it was going to be close. I really feel like the Jacksonville Jaguars kind of shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
And I'm more so talking about that first touchdown by Brandon Cooks. I don't know if you saw it or not,
Yeah.
but he pretty much caught like a little 3-yard across, and he caught it kind of in the middle, going towards the left out of bounds line.
Mm-hmm.
And there was somebody blocking. I think it might have been Will Fuller blocking on the left hash, and he pretty much did. Brandon Cooks just ran around the block and just scored a touchdown. Like
Yeah.
it was kind of weird.
Yeah,
You know,
defense.
there's just nobody there.
And it's one of those things where you look at the game and you're like 27-25. Well, that must have been a really defensive game, and it really wasn't. It was like, sure, like the defenses were there, but on the plays that touchdowns were scored.
Really, the offense shooting themselves in the foot most of the game, and then,
Right.
and then the defense just letting up really bad touchdowns.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a very and this is what happens when you have two bad teams playing it.
Yeah.
Is, both offenses are kind of sputtering, and then
Yeah.
when the defense makes a big mistake, you get
You pay.
good stat lines like 27 rushes for 115 yards.
Right.
So it not really much else to
Nope.
say.
That's it.
Ravens Colts about
Smacked them.
and this game is, to me, separates two different tiers of football team. You got the Ravens, who are in that top tier of football team, right? And then you got the Colts, who are in the I would say mid-high tier.
Sure.
Who are like, they're gonna make the playoffs probably, but probably a one and done first
Early
round.
exit. Yep.
Pretty early exit, right? Maybe make a divisional round if they play a good game. It depends on who they play in the first round.
And that's the thing. Depends on who they play.
And then, but as soon as they get to that divisional round, they're playing against a completely different class of football team, and it really did show here.
And that's the thing, right? And I think this is why I've never been. That's why I'm not right now very high on the Indianapolis Colts, because again, when they play good teams, they become pretty small.
Right.
They become pretty small.
And even teams in the same level as them, like the Browns, they got torched.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I feel like this is the epitome of the game here. That running back who, for the Colts, who fumbles the football on the right sideline, and
You watch it.
No. It's was it Hines? I think it was Hines.
Oh, he had a game last week.
And oh man, who was it? Oh, it was Jonathan Taylor, I think. It
Okay.
was Jonathan Taylor, and he lost that fumble in there in 36 of the Ravens. He's running it back, and Phillip Rivers just like falls on his back, and the dude jumps over him, and Phillip Rivers like reaches up trying to grab his legs, and he's just like
Take a picture of that. That's
He-
exactly the type of game it was.
He looked like a turtle on his back that couldn't get up. That to me, that really felt like the epitome of the game. It was just like the Indianapolis Colts were doing the best they could, but they had no chance there.
And the Colts defense did well, only letting up 24 points. But that's the strength of that team, is their
Mhm.
defense. But that offense is just bad. They're not good
I'll say another
against
thing.
good teams.
I don't like that Baltimore offense at all.
They're struggling a little bit.
They've been struggling for like the playoffs in all of this year.
And I think that's because they're relying too heavily on Lamar's legs. And usually when you have a football team with a coach like Jim Harbaugh, he's going to say, Lamar, we need you to throw the ball first, and then if you need to get out and run, do it, because we know you can.
Sure.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But they're designing plays specifically to utilize Lamar's legs. And I can understand why it's tempting, because he is so God-givenly talented. You want to utilize his legs and that talent, but he can throw the ball. Just design plays for him to throw it instead of on fourth down, which they did again this week, but it just worked. A design run.
Yeah.
Where against a team that's probably one ranking higher of a defense than the Colts, the Steelers got there, stopped them, but then he did it against the Colts and just barely got it. You gotta let Lamar Jackson be a quarterback.
Yeah, something's off there. Something's not right.
They don't have as much talent at receiver either. They need some help there.
I would agree.
Need some help there. This was a
Shocker.
shout out to Sean McDermott. He is a master head coach.
Yeah.
Bills-
It was a lights out.
Bills win
performance.
44-34. The Bills, again, I was listening to Colin Cowherd this morning. I couldn't have agreed more. I say that because I'm going to say something one day and someone will be like, wait, I heard that somewhere. So I just want to preface it that I did hear this somewhere, but I agree, is that they said, Sean McDermott said, Seahawks, you cannot stop the pass. You can't. You're awful. You're so bad. 32nd best team in the league. That's the worst, by the way.
Yep. There's 32 teams in the NFL.
They said, you know what? We're going to throw the ball 38 times and get 415 yards and 3 touchdowns.
On how many completions?
31!
That is so stupid. 7 incompletions for the whole game.
The Bills ran the ball 12 times with running backs. The other 7 rushes were with Josh Allen. So assume those were plays that maybe got broken and he ran out. They weren't designed. They designed 12 runs for this game and smoked the Seahawks because they knew we don't respect your pass rush. We don't respect your pass defense. We got a gunslinger in Josh Allen, and he's going to torch you.
Mhm.
And he did.
I'll tell you what, my biggest takeaway was actually not the Bills. It was the poor decision making of Russell Wilson. That those interceptions he had were bad decisions.
So the reason,
Bad decisions that I personally think cost him the game.
sure, so the reason I don't fault him so much is because his defense is so bad, he's constantly playing catch up.
Sure.
So against a moderately competent defense in the Buffalo Bills, Russell Wilson was forced to come from behind constantly. Like every time he was like, all right, yeah, we finally scored, we finally did it. The Bills put up another touchdown. And then they're like, oh, dang it. So then they get stopped. And then the Bills put up another touchdown. So now you got my 2 scores. So now he needs to start slinging the ball around the field, which is really like Russell Wilson does the best when he gets to pick his spots. And when he gets to pick his spot, because he's a super intelligent quarterback, when he throws the ball and he's able to think about where he's throwing the ball, it's 95% of the time completed.
Yep.
But most of this game, he had to throw up prayers, throw dangerous throws that ended up in those 2 costly interceptions because
Yeah.
they did lose by 2 possessions.
Yeah, they lost by 2 touchdowns. Well, more or less 2 touchdowns.
Right.
But my point is this, you're at the 6-yard line. You just had a 7-yard drive. They can't stop you. It was first down or second down, and he throws an interception in the end zone. Why? Just, no.
Yeah.
No.
And for most times when you're first and goal, what would you usually do? What would be your play call on first and goal?
I mean, most of the time you run it on first and goal.
Guess which running back they're on?
3rd or 4th string now.
4. They're on their 4th string running back.
Hmm.
Running the ball's not an option either.
Nope.
So now you're saying, Russell Wilson, please carry our football team to the promised land.
Yeah, which is a
And
problem.
for any player, having you and your receivers be pretty much the only talent on your roster, you can't win many football games like that.
Nope.
If this team doesn't figure out something with their defense, I don't know what they're going to do because trade deadlines pass. You can't trade for nobody anymore.
Yep.
There's really not much talent left on free agency. So you got to make something work because this team is starting to fall out of contender territory because their defense and obviously running backs, there's really nothing you can do about that. I mean, it's just injuries.
Yeah.
But your defense is so bad.
Terrible.
Yeah. Really good job at Buffalo for
Put the hammer down.
putting the hammer down. Really,
Put the hammer down.
Yeah.
Very impressed.
absolutely. Raiders, Chargers. Raiders came away with this one. Raiders are the better football team.
Yep. I don't really think there's
Chargers-
much that needs to be said
Chargers
here,
are
honestly.
very fun to watch.
Sloppy, though.
They can get sloppy, and an offense run by a rookie quarterback can get that way sometimes.
Of course.
But they just love choking away leads. They love choking away games. They're always so close. Ball is literally in your hands, the end zone, and can't make it happen.
Got to figure out how to close these games down.
And again, these are a tale of two tiers of different teams.
Speaking of which, real quick,
Shoot,
Derek Carr shot the lights out of that building.
he's so good.
Oh my, he only threw for 165 yards and
Doesn't
2
matter.
touchdowns, but those touchdowns he threw,
Gorgeous.
oh,
Gorgeous.
literally down the chimney like Santa Claus was dropping presents down the Christmas, or down the chimney
Down the chimney.
onto the Christmas tree.
Down the Christmas chimney. Yeah, no, I mean, they have two good running backs, Devontae Booker and Josh Jacobs. They have so much talent at receiver. Hunter Renfrow is extremely underrated. Nelson Aguilar learned how to catch a football over the offseason.
We'll see.
Tight end Darren Waller, Pro Bowler.
He's got a great story.
And
Speaking
then-
of which, y'all haven't heard his story. Go check him out. He's got an awesome story.
Yeah. And obviously Henry Ruggs, a speed demon. He didn't get much work this game.
Right.
Got targeted 3 times, wasn't able to bring it down.
Yeah.
But the Raiders are just a good football team. I mean, they are that upper tier of where the Panthers probably are.
Agreed.
They're I would say probably a top 10 football
They're
team.
climbing.
They're getting up
They're
there.
climbing.
Especially when some of these other teams we're going to talk about came away with losses. Watch out for the Raiders.
Yeah.
Could make a
agreed.
playoff push. Steelers Cowboys. This was way too close, and exactly why we put the Steelers at 2 instead of 1 last.
Yep.
Steelers offense is bad.
Yeah, they're not. Ben Roethlisberger got hurt, by the way. I don't know what he got hurt
He
with.
hurt both of his ankles,
Jeez.
both, or both of his legs, or both of his knees.
Yeah, I thought one of them was a knee, but
I think
either way, it
both- I think
doesn't
it was both
matter.
of his knees.
Doesn't matter. It's,
He's also on the COVID list, so he is in COVID protocol right now. And Mason Rudolph was awful on that last drive of the first half,
2 for 3, 3 yards passing.
making Oklahoma State alums look bad. Barry Sanders is cringing.
Man.
The Steelers they're 8-0, but like, how much longer can it last?
It's not.
They've shown. I saw someone ask the stupidest question I've ever seen, which was who's gonna get their first 0 knocked off their record, the Jets or the Steelers?
Absolutely Steelers.
It's absolutely gonna be the Steelers. The Steelers went toe to toe with the 3rd worst team in the league, and it was close. And the 3rd worst team in the league had Garrett Gilbert at quarterback.
Right. Somebody nobody's even heard of. I don't even think people in that locker room even knew who that was.
No, they're like Garrett Gilbert. The receivers catching the ball were probably like, "Thanks, guy." Like,
Thank you, number 12.
I think it was 3.
Oh, was it 3?
Yeah.
Oh, a shame to the number, bro.
Well, there you go. They don't even know what his name is or what his number is. Steelers are not in trouble. I don't want to say the Steelers are
No.
in trouble, but and every team's entitled to one bad close game, one ugly win. But this
It's
is
been a couple though.
it has been a few.
A 5-point game against the Broncos. A
That's
7-point game against the Texans.
yep.
A 3-point game against Tennessee, who they
Yep.
were dominating.
Yep.
They let the game get close.
Yep.
In 24-19, to the Cowboys.
Who they got next week?
They have the Bengals next week.
Could be an L. 9 line. Like, it could be a loss. And I mean, obviously, when we pick, and we see
We'll
picks,
get there.
we'll get there. But the Steelers are not, and I guess this is with every team. Every team really does have a flaw. You don't really have a perfect team this year.
Of course.
And the Steelers is like their whole offense. Like,
It's suspect.
Ben Roethlisberger is not distributing the ball the way he could be. He has 3 extremely talented wide receivers, and he's not utilizing them.
Nope.
They have a really good running back. They got to get better at utilizing it.
Yep.
That defense is really good.
Thank goodness.
But
'cause
even
they-
19 points to that Cowboys team is too many.
Yep. Completely agree. They listen. The Cowboys usually go to games to score field goals, not
Yeah.
touchdowns.
Yep.
And I think they actually scored a touchdown in this game.
Yep.
So, yeah, bad on the Steelers. They got to be better. And Cowboys, good job, Cowboys. Y'all actually showed some life.
Good job.
Y'all still stinking.
I was just
I'll
going to say, don't get excited.
I'll never pick you guys to win a single game of football the rest of this year.
Unless you're
But
versus the Jets, which I don't think they are.
I don't think so. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Dolphins, Cardinals. This was the battle of Tua and Kyler. This was fun. It was
What
super
a
fun.
shootout this was.
Kyler, if you compared stats, Kyler wins. But if you compare football teams, the Dolphins are scary.
They're actually not bad.
The Dolphins have a really good coach, a really good defense, and now their offense.
Aye.
They have a really good defense.
I don't know about really
They do.
good.
They do. I'll go over. I'll check. You listen. I really do think this Cardinals team and this Dolphins team should be feared. They have the potential to beat any team in this league. The potential to.
I would agree. Hey, listen, if they keep getting defensive touchdowns, you better believe your sweet ass they do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you that 100%. I'll say this. I think the Dolphins are playing picture perfect three-tiered football. They're playing football perfect in every aspect of the game right now. Special teams is lights out. Offensively, it's enough. Defensively, lights out.
Mm-hmm.
That's a winning formula. And I'll say this. They won this game. Arizona didn't lose this one.
Yep.
They won this football game, so good on them.
And
Good on them.
Arizona pretty much took every stat in the book, but that's when you start looking at okay, who defensive touchdowns? When did that happen?
Yep.
Right. So and that really was the game changer. That put the Dolphins up further than the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see these stats and you got your stat watchers and all that kind of stuff, but when you watch the game, the Dolphins look like a really well put together football team.
Mm-hmm.
And Dolphins fans should be excited
I would agree.
about having a good head coach and
Good
Brian
future
Flores
ahead of you.
and a good quarterback in Tua. Tua doesn't make mistakes and he throws the ball great.
I'll say this. I think as a team, my only critique I would give the Dolphins right this second is I would like for them to come out a little bit faster in the third quarter.
Yes.
In the third quarter, this whole year, they've been coming out very slow, very stagnant, and they've given a lot of games away in that third quarter alone.
Yep.
This one was no different. They gave up 14 points in the third quarter and didn't score anything.
Yeah,
That's
the problem.
trouble.
Yeah, you don't want to see that a whole quarter slide
Right.
pretty far like that, because usually if you take a snapshot of a quarter, you can get a general idea of how the game
Mhm.
went.
But other
then
than
obviously
that,
other circumstances.
they have a great recipe, though. They outscored them in every single quarter outside of the third. That's pretty good.
Good teams win close games against good teams.
Yes.
So,
Good on them.
Cardinals need to close games.
Yes.
That defense needs to show up a little better. Defense is not very good. This is a rookie quarterback now who has beaten Jared Goff, Super Bowl quarterback, not Super Bowl winning, but Super Bowl entering, and Kyler Murray, who's probably the best. He's the best sophomore quarterback this year, easy. And he's probably a top 10 quarterback right now.
Yeah.
So Tua is making his way down the NFL, unseating really good quarterbacks.
We'll see.
Cardinals need to step up.
We'll see. I'm gonna give it some more time. I'll give it some more time. You know me. It takes me time.
Sure.
It takes me time. But yeah, he's doing well so far.
And this blowout of a show, Saints, Bucks, 38-3.
I'll say one thing real quick, and that's all I'll say. They ran the ball 5 times the whole game. 5. You can't win football that way, dude. 5 rush attempts the whole game.
So glad I benched Ronald Jones.
I'll tell you what. All in all, and this is all I'll say. The Buccaneers played absolutely awful in every phase of the game. There was not one thing that they did well. Not one. The defense got shredded. The offense couldn't generate any sort of momentum.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, if they can't figure out how to beat the Saints, I don't care how loaded your roster is, you're not getting to a Super Bowl because you're going to see them.
When you watch that offense, it was very haphazard. It was very what are you trying to do? What's happening here? What's your objective? Again, I was Colin Cowherd today. I like Colin Cowherd. You'll step on him all day. I like Colin Cowherd. I like his takes. Sometimes he's a little crazy, but they usually when you watch a football team, right? If you watch the Saints play, you watch the Bills play, you watch even the Patriots play, like we're going to talk about. You have a general idea of what they're doing.
Right. What's the blueprint?
What's the game plan?
Yep.
You did your research. You saw the Bills did their research, watched the film, and said, "Oh, the Seahawks are sorry on defense. Let's toss it down the field." The Saints said, "This is a scary pass rush. Let's get the ball out quick,
Yep.
short passes, and let's make that happen." Okay? And then the pass rush will get tired. They'll never get there. Let's protect Drew Brees. Let's make it happen. Let's throw Taysom Hill in the mix. And this is our game plan. The Bucs never felt like they had a game plan.
They had no
It
idea
just
what they were
felt
doing.
very like they're trying to play backyard football. And in the NFL, that ain't gonna fly.
No.
I don't know what Bruce Arians was thinking. Todd Bowles, really good defensive coordinator.
You dropped the ball in this one, bub.
I don't think it's Todd Bowles because we know he's a good defensive coordinator, and he can only do so much. But when you have someone at the helm like Bruce Arians, who we've talked about many times, who has very questionable decision making.
Yeah, he has like these
Things.
ego trips. Like
It
it's like
is
the
very
weirdest times.
strange. Stop trying to focus too much on your talented guys like Gronk and trying to get the ball to AB for no reason. It's his first game. He shouldn't even have been playing. I don't know why he was in. The worst game of Tom Brady's career, easily the worst game of his career. He's never only put up 3 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. They need to take an inward look and say, what are we gonna do? What is happening here? Because right now, their record says 6-3. They look like a 10-6 to me right now.
Yeah, which is not going to cut it.
That's not gonna cut it
No.
because they're gonna have to play a lot of games away.
On the road,
Right.
yep.
And the Saints, and let's talk about the Saints super quick.
They're not that good.
Michael Thomas is back.
They're not that good, though. I'm sorry to say it.
But
Call me a hater, call me
So-
whatever you want to call me. They're not that good.
I think you are being a hater. I'm gonna be honest.
No,
but
they're not that good, bro. The Buccaneers made them look amazing. They're not that
the
good.
Saints, I'll just say this and we'll move on. The Saints are a talented roster
Agreed.
who know what they want to do.
I would agree with that as well.
I don't think they could do much more than that.
I would also agree with that.
Um,
And I'll add on to that too. I agree with everything you said. I'm just saying in terms of a 38-3 thing like that. That's
they're
like
not that good.
that's like a 2002 like Ravens team with like Ray Lewis and like the best defense the NFL has ever seen. You know what I'm saying? Like the score does not indicate. Listen, Drew Brees had the easiest game of his life. He was throwing the wide open receivers all game long.
Saints
He had no pressure on him.
Saints had one of their best games.
And the Buccaneers
Bucs
had
one
their
of
worst game.
And that's what happens when you have two teams in the NFL going opposite directions.
Yep.
One team's going to pull out way further than the other.
Absolutely.
I do agree with you there. They're not 38-3 good. It shouldn't have been.
No, not even close.
And this one was way too close. Patriots, Jets.
Let me real quick.
Go ahead.
You're pretty right on the spot. I'm just gonna say this. I think the worst thing the Saints ever did was do that little dance thing that they did in the Buccaneers locker room and then posted that for the world to see. Because one thing I'll add on too, as much as it felt like the Buccaneers were being haphazard, it almost felt like they were trying to entice the Saints to shoot all their bullets. Because if you look at them when they played the Saints, both times they played them, the Buccaneers really haven't done anything in terms of offensive attack.
No, right. Yep.
When they've done it against other teams. But for some reason they never do it against the Saints, and they allow the Saints to just get as many offensive touches as they can.
You think they're throwing it against the Saints?
I don't. Not like that, no. But I think at a certain point they decided, okay, let's just use this now. Let's just get information.
At a certain point in the game.
Exactly.
I can tend to agree with that. Yeah.
Let's just get information.
I can feel that.
And I think the Saints are just dumb enough to actually do that.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Patriots, Jets, 30-27. Patriots won on a last second.
What a barn burner.
What the heck is happening in the AFC East. My God.
Jesus, let's keep this one short and sweet. This is painful.
Jets are still the worst team in the league. I don't care. But the Patriots may have won, but I'm moving them down on the power rankings. You know what I mean?
They're terrible.
I was like, what? Did the camera die? I don't know.
No.
If I'm moving the Patriots down on power rankings, like they are to me based on how the Patriots got a win, Cowboys lost. Cowboys played better than the Patriots. It's fact. I would probably make the Patriots my fourth worst team in the league. Like if you got Jets, Jaguars, Cowboys, Patriots.
I've never seen a team that's so depleted of just pure talent. I would say the Jets, and probably only the Jets are more depleted in terms of just natural talent.
They don't have other than like a few pieces on the defense.
They have nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I see a lot, and I'm going to shut this down real quick. I see a lot of people saying that, oh, well, this proves that Bill Belichick is the piece, like Tom Brady's the more important piece of the Patriots dynasty.
Disagree.
I think that's inaccurate.
Yet, let's give it more time.
So here's why I say that. You just told me the Patriots have no talent on their roster.
Mm-hmm.
Zero. I don't care if you had Tom Brady on this team. This is an 8-8 football team with Tom Brady. And that's a fact. Because Tom Brady, with all his weapons in Tampa, is only 6-3. Talent-wise, if you look on paper, they really should be undefeated. I mean, granted, it took a few weeks to really get rolling with that team because obviously chemistry and all that kind of stuff.
Of course.
No doubt about it. But I don't think it's accurate to say that Bill Belichick is the sole reason that Tom Brady was the sole reason that the Patriots were so successful.
No, people who say that don't understand football.
No, they don't. They don't get it.
We'll just leave it at that.
Look at the Patriots football team right now. Name a player on their offense that's currently active.
Outside of the quarterback?
Yeah.
Well, you're asking the wrong guy, but
that's my point. The
Right.
average person. Well, their starting quarterback's Cam Newton. All right, name another.
Right.
You got literally nothing. Rex Burkhead, and that's it. What receivers do they have? What tight ends do they have? What offensive line? It's just like the whole team is
Just decimated.
bad.
Yeah.
And it's not good. I know we're ragging on the Patriots, but we rag on the Jets every week. So
We don't need to talk
We'll
about the Jets. We already know that.
bye week this week was Rams, Bengals, Eagles, Browns.
Okay. Yeah, that was
It was a fun week football.
It was.
I was enjoying it.
It was a very fun week.
Yeah.
Very, very fun week. Yeah, that was it.
That's it.
Alrighty, y'all. I think we ran a little bit long on that one today. We went off on a tangent, but that's all right. Sometimes you gotta do it. But alrighty, y'all. That was Tuesday's edition of the Sit Down Sports Edition with my man Andrew, where we went over Week 9, what we thought, and then on Thursday we're gonna go over our Week 10 predictions and also who won in terms of our picks for the following week. Okay, or the previous week, I should say. That's it, y'all. Until next time, we'll see y'all later.